Alrighty then. Let's see. Make sure the audio levels are okay, a little bit better there. That looks about right. Looks like we're peaking just a little bit, but as long as I don't talk too loud, we should be okay. Desktop audio for the game looks good. YouTube says we are live. Okay then. Hello once again, everybody. How are you doing? Good to be with you. So, continuing Suzerain. Having a lot of fun with this one. It appears to be one of the more popular games that I've played recently. So, since people are enjoying it and I'm enjoying it, I figured, what the heck? Let's continue the adventure. Not a lot to say today, as a bit of a ramble, but we'll give it a couple minutes to allow people to pop in so that they're not missing too much. Rippin' pepperoni, Mel. Yozara Mel. If you don't follow VTubers or HoloLive, either or, she recently had her contract with HoloLive terminated. Unfortunately, because she made the mistake of saying something to the wrong person when she was in a bad place mentally. Hey, hello. Just giving it a minute here before I get going to allow people to pop in. We'll probably give it about another minute or so. I know there's a couple of gentlemen who are interested in seeing more of the game, so hopefully this is more their time zone. We talked about that a little bit yesterday, so if at all possible, if I'm going to play this game, I'll play it around this time to allow people to have that ability to tune in and watch it play. But yeah, I kind of feel bad for some of these people, and it really does remind us that not talking about the people interested in this game, going back to the original topic I was kind of talking about. It's gotta suck because imagine sort of being isolated in that world and having those times where life isn't going so well and having the world kind of around you and not knowing who you can talk to or who you can confide in. And because of NDAs, if you mention something to the wrong person, that's it. That's your career. Just gone in an instant. Just like that. But I guess it behooves one to always behave in a way that would mean be very careful. Be very, very careful with who you trust and who you talk to about things. Well, at least, I guess, for things to end the way they did for her, at least they ended as well as they might. So, hopefully she's alright. Apparently she's gonna be taking a bit of time off, and then deciding what she wants to do. So it's good to know these things. She's a sweetheart. I hope the best for her. I don't think there's any of the major talents that I have any problems with. Most of the time it tends to come down to the companies. I don't know if I could ever be part of a major company. Well, actually I probably could, but I think I'm a little too wild to fit into any company's particular needs and niches, and there's all the baggage of my indie career. It'd be a heck of a thing because I like to think my voice is distinct enough that people would probably recognize me. All right, well, let's get to it. That's been enough time. So when we last left, we had changed the EPA requirements. So we'd opened up the door to more investing, but we hadn't gone crazy and just kicked open the floodgates. We definitely do want to avoid having our national sovereignty surmounted or undermined by investors from foreign nations. There's just always a thing you gotta keep in mind when you're inviting investment. And we are back in Lockhaven. But your voice can change. Yeah, but there's always going to be that one moment where you do a voice and someone's gonna, I got that. That's his voice. I knew it was him. You can only change your voice so much. All right. So that's the next event. Let's read the report. Recession hits farmers again. As per the latest news from Lockhaven, the farming industry has taken another hit as a result of the recession. There are reports that 16% of all wheat in Lockhaven is rotting in barns due to lack of buyers. Farmers are requesting additional funds from the government to survive the year. Export problem, eh? We were in Lockhaven to work with the Business Council to assess weakness in the economy. Simon organized a dinner with the affluent economic figureheads of Swordland. When we arrived, the streets were bustling with activity, even though the atmosphere in the country was tense. Black Haveners didn't seem very worried. Together with Walter Tusk, Edith Agnock, Mikhail Avin, and Simon Hull, we entered the renowned Esteria restaurant by the coast. A short blond man whose embroidered pocket read "Manager" greeted us and waved his arms in excitement as he told us how pleased he was to have us in his establishment. Beaming with pride, he led us to a private room and got us seated at a large table, covered for the occasion with a maroon tablecloth. Mic check, 1 2 3, 1 2 3. Yeah, let me know how the volume is. It looked like it was peaking a little bit, so hopefully it's not continuing to do that. But let me know. We were quickly served by a group of servers. Served by a group of servers? Walter spoke as they started taking our orders. I recommend the Lockhaven salmon, President. You have to taste this local delicacy here, the best in Swordland. I appreciate the advice, but I don't like salmon. Order Lockhaven salmon. Order traditional Sordus bean stew. Order lesbian pasta. What am I, a kid? Like 5 years old? I don't like salmon. You're not my dad. You can't make me eat salmon. Ew, gross, fishes. Let's see. So he's recommending, so we can choose that and be more polite. He's recommending it, unless he's planning an assassination. He's like, yes, order the salmon. I recommend it. It's to die for. Did you go to the funeral of the communist poet? No, I did not. I avoided the funeral. At the time, I thought it more prudent to avoid what could be perceived as political statements. Besides, we don't bury communists. We not like humans. We put them into the ground like the animals that they are. No. I wonder. Who is this Tusk guy again? Millionaire businessman, inventor, Lothberg Group. He owns the Economist Group, which pushes a well-known newspaper. Sword or Steel Company. Okay, so he's like a business guy, tycoon sort. So this is the guy we're trying to charm, right? Let's try it. I ordered Lockhaven salmon for the main course. The servers took their notes and asked about the second dish. Rice with salmon? Salad? Order no more. Gotta get them greens in. I ordered salad. The servers placed glasses in front of each of us and served bread and water. After they were done taking orders, they quickly left us alone in the private room. Mr. President, I didn't have the possibility to thank you for coming today. Your presence means a great deal. Indeed, sir. It's an honor to dine with you. Thank you. It's great to be here with the members of the Business Council. Likewise. It's great to be here with the members of the Business Council. We should thank Simon for organizing this meeting. No need for that. I hope everyone enjoys the evening. Simon gestured at the expensive-looking red wine bottle that one of the servers had just brought to the table. Mr. President. Sure. Let's have some. That looks amazing. Well, it tastes even better. Best of Lesbia. Chateau del Falenco, 1934. Simon poured some wine in my glass and waited for me to taste it before filling it up. I took a sip. It was bitter. Honestly, it tasted like any other wine. How is it? Is the taste to your liking? Tell him it just tastes like any other wine. Try and sound sound like a connoisseur. It has a sour and delicate vegetal character. Is it Acacia I'm tasting? It tastes like heaven. It's fine. It tastes like any other wine. Let's be polite. What? No. You may be tasting the oak from the barrels, or maybe it's the gooseberries. It's definitely not Arcasia, Mr. President. Simon filled up my glass. After filling everybody's glasses, Simon stood and raised his glass. I'd like to raise a toast to all of you here today. We're meeting here tonight in difficult times, but I believe that with hard work, cooperation, and trust,
We will get through this period as well. I'd like to thank Mr. Rain again for his decisiveness when it comes to economic policies. I'm sure we will stop this recession. I also thank Mr. Tusk for being here with us today. His presence is an honor. And of course, my colleagues from the Business Council, Mrs. Agnock and Mr. Avon. Without you, none of these would have been possible. Let's drink to future cooperation and growth. For a prosperous Swordland. Everybody raised their glasses and toasted each other. After a couple of more minutes, the servers arrived with our meals. The food tasted amazing. Walter was right. This place must have been the best place in all of Lakehaven. So, how did you find the food of the best fine dining restaurant in Lakehaven, Mr. President? Your Anton is dictator or not? No, I'm not a dictator. I am reforming the country to a republic, hopefully. A constitutional republic, yes. Not a big fan of fancy food, but I must admit that it's very tasty. Fine food is like fine art, but this particular one is a masterpiece. It's okay. This can't get old. It's an experience. The chef must be tipped. I came up middle class, so I probably would have a taste for finer things. Not very decadent, though, so... Not a big fan of fancy food, but I must admit that it's very tasty. Says the man visiting one of the finer restaurants in Swordland. Don't blame it on him. Mr. President didn't choose the place. How are things going in Maroon Place? The pressure must have increased after you did not attend the funeral. The pressure was already high. Not much has changed. It did, but it was the right decision. I have to say, the future is looking good. It's tough, but our work on the new Constitution continues. Let's be optimistic. I have to say, the future is looking good. That's great to hear. As we conversed with Mikhail, I heard Walter raise his voice in an apparent argument with Edith and Simon. We both stopped to listen. Arcasia knows the right way of doing business. Her approach to the world is real and raw. I'd prefer that cutthroat approach in comparison to the niceties. Well, I mean, it's a nice country to visit, too. I've traveled there often in business trips. Their attitude on all countries are nice to visit if you have the cash. Money does turn the world around. Travel is the least you can buy with it. Certainly not all. Exactly. How about the people who don't have extra cash to spend? Better to keep your mouth closed and be thought a fool than open it and prove the world right. Let's just listen for now. Mikhail joined in. It certainly depends on what you're looking for. Cultural tourism doesn't require a fancy hotel. Last time I went somewhere for that sort of thing was at university. Even then we had our wild times thanks to Conrad's connected entourage. Also, Walter is taking us down the rabbit hole again. By the way, I saw that the construction of the highway has already started. I have my concerns about the company, but I hope they do a good job. I expect that the project will bring new investments from Agnolia. The mood is already becoming positive. The relief package was also a great investment. It has already saved many businesses from declaring bankruptcy. I have to congratulate Mr. Rain for such major projects.
Thank you for your support, Mr. Havin. No need for that, Mr. Havin. The state is just doing its job. I hope the investment returns will be great. Thank you for your support, Mr. Havin. Of course. Mr. Hall, who also deserves credit, of course. Ah, great economy minister. Is there a joke coming? Why, I thought you said you were great at economy. I've heard that you've bought a new villa, Simon. I don't comment on rumors, but I'll make an exception since we are among friends. It's true. You're doing a great job, so you deserve it. A new villa is a bit much, especially in this economy when people are suffering. Where is the property? Why? Don't like to. Where is the property? Why? Just ask why, I guess. I think that's the best neutral.
I already had my eye on the area. Plus, it wasn't intended to be public. It is a small seaside villa at the outskirts of Conriat. It's a modest house with a swimming pool and a small golf course in the property.
That's gotta be a big bit of property if you've got your own private golf course. Great city to buy real estate in. Conrad is seeing a surge of investments. So you're becoming a neighbor to Marcel Caronti? Modest? Are you being sarcastic with me? Great city to buy real estate in. Conrad is seeing a surge of investments. Underhall Construction made a fortune constructing houses there.
Well, there is demand, there is supply. The market rules supreme as always.
Edith, who was sitting to my left, gently put her hand over my arm for a few seconds. Come on, let's not talk about finance or politics for now. We came here to relax. She turned to Walter and Simon. Isn't that right, gentlemen? They nodded at her and took a sip from their drinks. She slightly leaned towards me. So, Mr. Rain, why don't you tell us what's behind that strong character of yours? I've heard that you were brought up in the capital and experienced all the power shifts as it happened. Is that right? It must have been tough. I try to leave my past behind and focus on today. It's who we have become that matters. It was difficult times in the capital, but I've learned a lot about politics. I didn't suffer much thanks to my family. We didn't have much, but we were stable.
That's what I say after a good night of drinking. I never met your family, Mr. President. How are they doing, if you don't mind me asking? I prefer to not talk about my family. We don't talk much since I became president. They're doing great. We have no problems. That's kind of rude. We don't talk much. That's kind of sad. Let's put on a brave face. We're doing great. We have no problems. That's great to hear. Your son must be very proud of you. Family is everything. My advice would be to make sure that Frank has a solid relationship with you. He is your future, after all. I'm trying my best to be a good father to him. He seems to be somewhat introverted. He's going through the teenager period. It's difficult to connect with him. He's a little shy. The kid can handle himself. He doesn't need anybody else. Wow. Wow. Rude. Why do you even care? 3 and 4 are kind of jerk answers. I'm trying my best to be a good father to him. He seems to be somewhat introverted. Wish that was my son's biggest problem. Darren seemed to be doing fine. I saw that his yacht party in Benfey made the local news. Well, the rascal didn't even ask for permission to use the yacht and just took it. He basically stole it. Good news is that I finally convinced him to go to the university. He will study economics in Lockhaven Business School. That's a good choice. Having a degree in Solon separates you from the rabble, and we especially need more people who understand economics. Talking of which, it's great that we have another leader who actually studied economics and understands it, like Mr. Alfonso. Look at what he cost. Studying doesn't get you to the finish line. Alfonso was an inspiration for all reformists. We are in this mess because of him. His political failure nearly destroyed us. Thank you. Just take the compliment. I hope we can repair the damages to our economy. We can't fail like Alfonso did. A correction. It wasn't his policies that destroyed him. It was the old guard. What do you mean? I always had a gut feeling about his sudden fall. Of course it was. They are a big threat. I believe that too. What do you mean? They threatened their economic power base over the country through a vast privatization plan. They removed him and backed you after. Walter, stop with the conspiracy theories. I think we've had enough drinks. Everyone went quiet. After a long silence, followed by some chit-chat, Walter ordered a bottle of whiskey. That's one good-looking bottle. The waiters brought one of the finest Arcasian whiskeys. It was time for a toast. Simon, would you give a toast again? Sure. Simon stood up. He seemed to have a slight issue with his balance. May the wheels of fortune always turn in our favor. The future of abundance awaits us. Cheers to that! I think it is time we call it a night.
Edith stood up. Most of us were all a little tipsy at this point. I want to thank you, Mr. President, for joining us, and you, Simon, for putting all this together. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Edith, for joining with a bunch of ugly rich men. It's getting late. Let's call it a night. It's getting late. Let's call it a night. I agree. Hello, hello, welcome, welcome. How are you today? Good night, everybody. It was a pleasure. After bidding our farewells, we slowly walked out the restaurant. The moon was shining bright as everyone except Walter left in their luxury cars.
President, a moment alone, please.
He called me inside the small VIP lounge. Ignore him and leave. Follow him. What does this man want? Or should I ignore him? I'm curious to see what he wants. But I'm also thinking it might be sussy. We also have our appearances of proprietariness to maintain. Follow? Deal? Let's see what he wants. I followed him inside.
Usually the Lothburg spokesman doesn't directly comment on the administration, but I'd like to say a few things since this was a special evening.
Sure, if you have to.
Finally, a president that listens to the people. It won't be easy to pass the new constitution to the Assembly and the Supreme Court. We could help you get it through, if you in return help us with a few economic requests.
Walter lit his cigar and took a few drags before continuing. Oh.
The consensus is that we see eye to eye in the economic direction you have taken by promoting a market economy.
I'm glad that the group is supportive. I'm interested to collaborate further in our shared interests. Good to know, but not sure how this concerns me.
Oh, it definitely should, President.
He looked me in the eye.
You rejected our previous discreet offer to pick Underhall Construction for the execution of the first mega infrastructure project.
Oh, here we go again.
This action led to a disappointment in the group. We are aware of the upcoming tax meeting, and it would be a step in the right direction if private corporations would get a tax cut. To boost the economy with job creation, of course. And the positive side effect would be our support of the administration throughout the entire term.
I will give large private corporations a tax reduction. I will make tax decisions objectively. Can't promise you anything. Lothburg will not influence me. I play Suzerain on mobile. I'm jealous. Well, it's a fun game. I don't know. I don't know. It could work. It could work. It could work on mobile. I don't want to promise anything right now. Not without consulting with people. I mean, the support would be nice, but promising that sort of thing, I don't know about that. Kind of leaning against promising anything at this point. My version is 1.0.5. Lotherberg will not influence me. So I'm leaning against 1 and 3, because 3 is just shutting him down. Number 1 is giving them promising a tax reduction. No, you need money. Yeah, but isn't that like corrupt? And we haven't made friends with the media. So if we start doing this sort of thing, that's going to be just the sort of thing that our enemies would want. Well, I can always not promise anything and then commit later. Decide to change something, right? Because it's not until they make the no tax cut. Yeah, I was thinking too. I will make tax decisions objectively. Can't promise you anything.
Oh, let's not be too hasty. The recession will end if Lotherberg is on your side, President. Why can't we all just be friends?
Maybe we can. I'll see what I can do. I don't think so. I have other plans for the economy. Wow, only 2 choices here. If I had to make a choice here, I'm leaning against 1 because 1 seems to kind of be weakly endorsing the pressure to give them the tax breaks. Number 2 is like, it's a little more rude, but it's a little more direct. I believe Baron said that it really doesn't matter how rude you are to them as long as they get good deals. And so what would I do? I wouldn't commit to giving them deals, not at this point. Maybe if it's economically feasible, but I'm not just gonna wholesale give them a deal right now off the cuff, especially not when I've been drinking. That's the worst time to make decisions, especially decisions that affect the economy of an entire nation. I don't think so. I have other plans for the economy.
That's a shame. I did offer you a peace branch.
There was an awkward silence.
Either way, President, we are here and always ready to work with you if you change your mind. Don't forget that.
I will think about it, but not now. Walter left, and Sergei came to pick me up. Or Sergei. Enter the car. I entered the car, and we drove to our residence in Lakehaven. Sergei took the seaside route. The preparations for the government budget were finished. Most of the cabinet gathered in the White Room for the important occasion. Nearly half a year had passed since my inauguration. The cabinet looked overworked. Sergei's best boy. Yes, very much. If I had known a little bit more about this game, I might have actually given him money for his children. But I am trying to play this straight as I would normally be inclined to play and react. I would like to use this opportunity for a statement.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. It's finally time to discuss the government budget! Yay!
Welcome, everybody. Great to see you. Let's make a statement.
And of course, sir.
Each and every one of you is very capable, but it's what we do as a team that counts. You're doing great work, and this is just the beginning. There will be many more good things to come. Years ago, all of us gathered to change the course of history. Now I'm proud of what we achieved and what is to come. The ministers appeared energized by my statement.
Much appreciated, sir. Sadly, Peter Vecton, Gus Manger, and David Wishy won't be attending this meeting. They are working on the upcoming trade agreements with Wayland and Agnolia.
May the Lord be with them. Ciara gave a barely disguised eye roll.
Did you just roll your eyes at me, young lady? If I did, it's because religion has no place at a government budget meeting.
I was merely expressing my wishes for a successful trade deal. Freedom of expression must be protected at all costs, must it not, Miss Morgana?
Actually, in this case, I agree with Miss Walda.
Ciara flashed her an appreciative smile.
According to Swordland's laws regarding the separation of church and state...
She broke off as she noticed that Simon, Lucian, and Yosef were looking at the three female ministers in stony silence.
Ladies, let's leave the extraneous chit-chat for afternoon tea.
Please, leave your religion at the Maroon Palace gates, Miss Graff. The Lord is always welcome in these halls, Miss Walda. Don't comment. Well, I mean, I see where they're coming from. We definitely do want to avoid theocracies or anything of the nature, but just being thankful and having your faith, I don't see that as entirely bad. I mean, I'm kind of wanting to side with the old lady on this. Then again, I don't want to take sides in this. That's a whole debate. I think he's right. Let's leave the extraneous chit-chat for afternoon tea. So I'm going to stay out of this. I refrained from making a comment. Simon started loudly shuffling some documents around. All eyes turned to the Minister of Economy. Let's begin, Mr. Hall.
Gladly. Today is a big day. We must prioritize our spending wisely in order to achieve the goals we set as a government, while maintaining enough political support, if I may add. Promises were made during the election. There are three options regarding the budgeting of the four main branches of the government. It's either we increase, maintain, or decrease the funding. Increasing will result in an improvement of the branch, which will unlock new policy options. Maintaining will keep the funding, resulting in no visible change. Decreasing causes a loss of efficiency in that branch.
Can we rely on the private sector to support us? Moving away from big government is the right choice.
Yes, number 2.
The problem isn't the amount of money we spend. It's how efficiently we spend it.
I like number 2. Number 3 isn't too bad either. Number 1. We shouldn't be relying on the private sector to support us. I'm going with 2.
Moving away from big government is the right choice.
Well, the state provides many services that our citizens pay for with their taxes.
I agree. Our essential services should remain under our authority.
Hang on a second. Oh, there's my alarm. Let me go turn my alarm off. Sorry. Quick break, 30 seconds. Okay, sorry about that. How sad, an alarm set for a job I thought I was going to be starting this week, but alas, things fell through. Oh well.
There's always other opportunities. For every door that closes, another opens. I agree, our essential services should remain under our authority. We have to be careful as to what we fund, so we have resources remaining for another investment project. We should prioritize the most critical branches. We have to keep true to the election promises. Our people voted for us because of the promises we made. Reduction of funding in certain branches can help fund investment projects. Sorry? Oh, well, it happens. All you can do is pick yourself up and move on. Yep, exactly. Never give up. Never lose hope. Where there is life, hope springs eternal. We have to keep true to our election promises. Our people voted for us because of the promises we made. As much as we realistically can. If we fail at improving our economy, the promises don't mean much in the big picture. Before we begin our discussion, there is one more thing that I want to voice my opinion on. As we manage the government budget, we can go into debt to invest in different branches. However, under these circumstances, it would worsen the economic crisis if we push it too far. It's difficult for us to raise debt with the current unhealthy economy, but we can increase the amount of debt we can take as the economy improves. We should spend as much as possible to achieve growth. We should spend as much as possible to achieve growth. Our administration should be fiscally conservative to avoid a crash. Measures of austerity have shown difficulties in appeasing voter groups. Given the current state of the country, improving economic situation is a political priority right now, more so than ever if we want to win the '58 election. This budget will also be applicable to our entire term. It is very critical that we plan correctly. Let's begin then. Which branch should we discuss first? Let's talk about healthcare. Our healthcare system is vast and provides free services to most of our citizens. However, the quality of our health services is far worse in low-income and rural areas. Therefore, I think we should receive more funding to address this disparity. I agree. I have recently begun an investigation into healthcare in Narble, and the numbers are not good. If we don't increase the spending on health services, we at least need to maintain it. Otherwise, we are putting lives at risk. We have just started a new analysis on what would happen if a pandemic struck Swordland. According to the results, if our healthcare facilities remain in their current state, the death toll would be unimaginable. I'm not even talking about the damage to the economy. This is a matter of life and death, Mr. President, and it should be treated as such. That is indeed worrying. We should try to fix whatever we can as the government. That is, only if a pandemic happens. We need to improve our health care. What else are we here for if we can't keep our people alive?
Be statistic with budget? I don't understand what that means. Strategic? You mean strategic? Typo? Le typo in the chat. No, I think I get what you mean. That's only if a pandemic happens. We need to improve our healthcare. What else are we here for if we can't keep our people alive? That is only if a pandemic happens. Let's discuss law enforcement. I would like to have an increase in the funding of law enforcement to increase the size of the police force and raise salaries. We have so many internal threats to tackle, and I'm already stretching my units far too thin with the limited resources allocated to me. Law enforcement is certainly a high priority. However, I feel tackling internal corruption is of far higher importance than increasing our police presence. Directing the funds to my department would solve the problem at its root. If corruption is still rampant, all the police in the world won't help us. We need a specialized anti-corruption police unit, which we could create if the funds were directed to me. I agree with Miss Morgana. We should not reward a structure that is responsible for an ever-increasing number of human rights violations. Additionally, corruption is the reason of our government inefficiencies. It needs to be tackled. The police are there to serve and protect the people of Swordland, Miss Walder, and that is exactly what we were doing. More funding will allow us to take care of our police forces. It is quite a simple choice, given the current status of the country. I agree with Lilius. If this was another time, I would have said something different. But we know the current situation. I agree with Nia. We need real solutions for real problems like corruption. I agree with Sierra. What would people think of us if we fund the police after all that happened? Anti-corruption unit, eh? I like that idea. That's, Nia. I agree with Nia. We need real solutions for real problems like corruption. It's time to hear the opinions on the military.
What is there to hear about? I already voiced my opinions. Rumburg is coming whether we like it or not. If not this year, next year. If not next year, the year after that. Mr. President, you and I have a shared responsibility to protect this nation from its enemies, and I intend to do so until my last breath. I will say this with certainty. If Rumburg doesn't make a move against Swordland in 2 or 3 years, my name is not Iosif Lancia.
Yosef was beginning to lose control of the volume of his voice. Calm down, bro.
There can be no argument against increasing the budget for our army when there is an enemy on our doorstep, waiting for us to make one wrong move. Anyone who thinks otherwise is a fool.
Mr. Lancia.
Right. Pardon my theatrics, sir, but this is a serious matter. The future of our country is up to you, Mr. President.
Well, here's an argument. The armed forces does nothing but eat away financial resources. destined for our people while stoking fears for an upcoming war. The issues with Rumberg can be solved diplomatically. What kind of a message are we sending to them and the whole world if we suddenly start ramping up our military budget? That we are ready to defend our nation, Miss Walder.
Exactly.
I agree with Yosef. Rumberg is a real threat, and we need to be ready. I agree with Ciara. We need to be as diplomatic as possible. There are other more important avenues that our money can be better spent on. Well, they've been kind of messing with us, but they haven't really done much. We haven't had any, skirmishes or anything like that. I'm kind of thinking of leaning more towards the diplomatic route. Although they did close their embassies, which is kind of sussy. Kind of a coin flip. I do see the threat. Rumberg has been acting kind of sussy. But she does bring up a good point that we need to be as diplomatic as possible. But we also need to be ready. You can't go back and build tanks and buy guns that you need in a time of crisis. You have to have them ready. You have to have the troops ready. By the time the tanks roll over the border, it's far too late. With Lancia, just in case. Yeah, but it could be, It's kind of a tough call to make there. Could be exactly what Rumberg is looking for. They provoke, we respond, they have justification to further escalate. We get caught up in an endless cycle and Rumberg comes in with all the justification in the world. Diplomacy has worked for us so far, but I also see the need to be proactive. Kind of leaning towards a 1 here, but only slightly. It's a very tough call to make. One. Screw it. YOLO. I agree with Yosef. Rumberg is a real threat, and we need to be ready. What about education? Our education system is lacking, not only in funding, but also in modern curricular principles. Our outdated curriculum is wasting our youth. That is the reason why I advocate 2 things. An increase in the budget to improve access to education in rural areas, and a new education reform. To be honest, Swordland is lacking compared to Arcasia and United Cortana when it comes to education levels. The backbone of any country is its people, and we need to protect our future. We need to ensure the new generation is as well educated as their counterparts in more modern countries.
Nonsense. Swordland is still here because of this very system that you insult. How can you insult a system that teaches our sons and daughters the principles of national identity and pride? We won't be compared to other countries. Swordland is Swordland. I agree with Lilius. Swordland is Swordland.
I must also remind you that we promised that we were going to focus on education during our campaign. You're right, Lucian. We can't let people down. Luis is right. We will pave our own path. We don't get this far by imitating Arcasia or United Cortana. I agree with Ciara. It is high time we invest in education and enact reforms. I will think about it. Do you like Saul or Alfonso? Who was Alfonso? They're not here, are they? Assembly. I'm in the middle. Cabinet. Oh, Alfonso. He was the guy that gave us the business deal. Yeah, we sided with him, and we also asked him to step down to save face, rather than have him deposed. Tarquin Sol was the military guy, right? Okay, they were the two ex-presidents. That's right. I think Lucian's got a point. We did make the promise. We didn't get this far by imitating Arcasia. So Lilius seems to be more of a nationalistic. Then again, I don't see anything wrong with wanting to be proud of your nation and knowing your history, so I don't know. She might have a point. I agree with Ciara. It's high time we invest in education and enact reforms. Reforms are not good, or not bad, but they're not necessarily good either. I think I'm gonna side with Lucian here. You're right, Lucian. We can't let people down. And I've made up my mind about the budget. We can proceed. Very good talking points from everyone. Well then, the time to make the decision on the budget has come. Consider it with care, Mr. President. Simon placed a stack of papers on my table. I turned the first page. Oh, here comes the real choices. The average life expectancy has dropped significantly. I'm tempted to increase
Wow, that drops our budget into the 2 into the red? Wow. Okay then. Ooh, this is where it gets difficult. Oh. Well, we don't want people dying. I mean, if we're going to spend money on anything, we might as well spend it on healthcare. Is there a way to go back? Or if I click on next, is that it? It's like locked in. Be an absolute asshole and just decrease everything. That would be funny. I mean, I see increasing healthcare as a good thing. I mean, if our life expectancy is dropping and people are dying and where does it say? Issues such as maternity deaths and disease outbreaks. I never decreased before. If Baron was here, if Baron was here, it'd be funny to see what his. I'm ashamed of you, Squid. I thought living in America, got to have a celebration. I live in America. Hand to hand across the nation, living in America. I thought living in America, you could have made better choices. You want people to die. Country doesn't become rich itself. You need sacrifices. Just decrease everything. Survival of the fittest. No, I think I'm going to increase the healthcare budget. Yeah, dead people's not good. I really don't want to increase the budget too much. We are trying to pull out of this recession. Spending is not a good way to pull yourself out of a recession and the like. But healthcare does seem to be a worthy thing to put money in. Cranberry! Cranberry! Hello! Welcome! What is going on? Feels like it's been forever since I seen you pop into one of these. Unfortunately, there's no private sector solution to healthcare popping up, so we may actually have to spend more. Been too busy. I understand that. New year, new stuff to worry about. Yep. Alright, let's pull the trigger on healthcare. Okay, we can go back and change things. That's good. Hello. Hello, Cranberry. It's so good to see you.
Mr. Cranberry. Welcome back. We missed you. Do you like what I've done with this place?
Law and order. So I don't think I need to maintain, I don't think I need to maintain, do I? I could probably decrease this, couldn't I? Because we could, decreasing law and authority is a great way to pull yourself out of recession. Why do I have another alarm going off? What the fuck? Crimes are great for economy. Well, we're supposed to be... I sided with what's-her-name about putting the money into an anti-corruption group, so I don't know. Crimes are good for the economy. Ferengi rule of acquisition number 897. Crime is good for business. And no, I have zero fucking clue about this game, so take my idea with a grain of salt. Well, it's a visual novel adventure game that's about politics. We haven't even made it out of chapter 1 yet. We did make it out of the prologue. Let's maintain law and order. Education. So I'm leaning towards increase healthcare, maintain law and order, increase education, maintain military. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards right now. That puts us -5 into the hole for national debt. I don't know if I want to go crazy and like crank everything up. But better education and better healthcare sounds like a great way to keep people alive and increase the standard of living. So what does final budget -5 mean? You will incur debt in game or something? I think the way they were explaining it just now, talking with them, is it impacts growth. So, if we maintain a if we have a surplus, I guess our nation will grow, which allows us to spend more later on, I guess. But if we have a negative, we can do that, but it impacts our growth. I think that's how that works. I'm not fully up to date on how the stuff works. If Baron was here, we could ask him how that works. But that's what I'm leaning towards right now. I don't know. What do you guys think? I got maintain military, increase education, maintain law and order, increase healthcare. It puts us at final budget of -5. Which means that eliminates the surplus we were running before and drops us to -5. But it should increase our healthcare and education. Seems too complicated for my ADHD brain. Seems good to me, dog. Alright, we're gonna pull the trigger on this. Don't get to -7. Okay. We're gonna stick with -5. That's as far into debt as we're going. I had finished allocating the government budget, to the satisfaction of some cabinet members and the dismay of others. They and I knew this would define a significant part of our term.
We have a deficit on our hands. We will need to resort to debt to finance future investments. This situation can have adverse effects if we don't strike a balance. Agreed. Well then, let's start with law enforcement.
Lilius leaned forward and put her hand on her chin. Nia was looking down at the floor. I suppose we'll have to make do with what we have. This is not the best situation for us. I'm not sure what we'll be able to do if the budget doesn't change. Any statements on the matter, sir? I trust you to push the Ministry of Interior and Justice forward. The continuation of the existing set of budgetary conditions is in order. No, that should be all. How? Our efforts will be on maintaining order with what we have. Here I was thinking the Rain administration would be on the side of law and justice.
Let's hear the Minister of Education.
Ciara was eager to comment. The increase in funding is very welcome. We can finally go after some comprehensive improvements by building new schools and improving the education system. Surely a well-funded and larger Ministry of Education would benefit everyone. Our future depends on our children. Education is the first step in the fight against ignorance. Education is our future, and it will not be sidelined. Our focus on it is clear. Your expertise and passion should enable you to make the necessary changes for improvement. We will be able to achieve my grand goals with these new budgetary resources.
The military is next.
Ciara clearly wasn't finished, but didn't interject. Yosef chimed in.
It is a shame that the military won't be getting an increase. I will have to make sacrifices to maintain our defenses.
Lucian seemed as if he was about to say something, but looked down at his notepad when Yosef eyed him. With your talent and experience, you will overcome the issues our military faces.
It will be harder to do so, but I shall find ways. It is my duty.
Yosef leaned back in his chair.
Let's hear from Mr. Benewall.
Thank you, sir. This health budget increase will help me to focus on improvements. Our people will now be safer than ever. I'm also planning to tackle issues like the lack of rural hospitals and the recently worrying numbers of maternal deaths. Welfare must remain a priority for our term. There is no other way around it.
Healthcare is very important for us. As we move forward, it will improve drastically. Your opinions were noted, Pascal. Your task is to improve the care in the country. Let's wrap it up.
With the new budget, we have many options to improve our healthcare program and provide for the people.
That covers all branches. Each minister will approach you with their respective policy requests and expectation over the next year. Thank you for your time and participation in this significant moment. The meeting is concluded.
Regardless of what happened, I wouldn't be here without you. Don't forget that we are a team. The ministers bid their farewells, some excitedly, others dejectedly. The cabinet slowly dispersed out of the White Room. The budget for our term was concluded. Well, that was quite the stream. Okay, so continue. I think it's saved. I hope it's saved. We will call it a stream there. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed. I am still enjoying the heck out of this game. Yeah, game is Suzerain. It is available on Steam if you are enjoying it and decide to try it for yourself. Apparently it's also available on mobile, so that's an option if you don't want to have it on Steam. I don't think it's currently on sale. It's currently showing as $20 American. There's an expansion coming up in March. So, yeah. And disclaimer as always, I'm not being paid by any company or affiliated people on any of the games I play and recommend. I like to think that being an independent, I'm allowed to make my own decisions and call games good or bad depending on what they offer on their own terms. So this one's a lot of fun. And if you're a fan of visual novels and you've got a little bit of a political streak in you, this one might be right up your alley. But everyone, you have a great day. I appreciate you tuning in. I'll try and schedule the Suzerain streams around this time because it seems to be the time that works out for all the people that might be interested in watching it. So I'll keep the other random games I play for now to other random hours when I'm playing. But for now, yeah, we'll try and schedule Suzerain around 4 to 6 a.m. depending on the day. My time, Pacific Standard Time. So you can make your adjustments based on that. It's currently 7 a.m. my time, so that should give you an understanding of when the timing will be. So just check the time in your country right now, and this would be about the time I'd be streaming. Well, anyways, it's been fun. Thank you everybody who was here for the live. Thank you everybody who checks out the VOD later. I hope you enjoyed. This is definitely a game that I'm enjoying quite a bit, and we shall see how these choices play out. So, I'll see y'all out there, and take her easy. whatever you do.